I saw a video the other day, someone talking about how video games aren't the same anymore, and you know what, I think they're probably onto something. I think things have changed quite a bit in the gaming sphere, not just with the games, but with us. We're of an old, I am of an older generation of gamers now. Back in the day there was no day one patches, no patches whatsoever if you were playing on the consoles, because there was no internet connection. You just plugged it in and played the game as it was. So your Mega Drive, SNES, NES, all that shit, once the game was put to cartridge, that was it. Stuck. And if it was a huge game breaking bug, they really wouldn't fix it. Not that I remember. I don't ever really remember any huge, big, massive problems with the game. So I don't know if they ever issued recall carts and put out new versions of the game. It's very possible they did, but it's also very possible they didn't. High probability rate, low possibility rate, that's probably what I should have said. Never mind. I remember I was more enamoured with video games back in the day. I was easier pleased than I am now. I'm still fairly easy pleased, but not to the extent that I was back then. And games that I look at now thinking, wow, that looked shit, or it was complete shit. Back in the day I just fucking ate it up. I mean, like watching things like Clockwork Knight for the Sega Saturn, I thought that looked like the best thing ever. Bug, I look at those games today and I'm like, wow, you played some amount of absolute pish. There was no open worlds back then, and if they were, they were basic as fuck. Like Daggerfall had an open world, but I never played on the PC at that point in time, because I didn't get a PC until 1997, and that was around about the days of Dark Forces 2, the Jedi Knight series. It was just known as Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. It wasn't a Jedi Knight series back then, it was just 2 games. But that's when I started to delve into PC. I don't play PC games anymore. There's reasons for that. It's very expensive to get the best out of them, and there's no physical collections with PCs any longer. It's all digital. Even if you buy a physical copy of a game, it's like, oh, here's your Steam key, and you're like, what the fuck was the point of even selling the thing on a retail shelf? I don't want a fucking Steam key. The disc was there as well, but you couldn't play the game without owning Steam, unless you found ways to circumvent that, and there are ways. Fallout New Vegas, I could Fallout New Vegas for the PC. Brilliant! Have to have a Steam account. What? Get the Fallout New Vegas script extender. Don't need a fucking account anymore, baby! And that lets you mod the game too. But modding's another thing that's very complicated, and I actually just found it was more trouble than it was worth most of the time, so I didn't do it. Anyway, I'm meant to be talking about the ye olde days and what gaming means to me now. It's almost disappointment now. It's like the magic's gone. I remember TV programs back in the day. There was one on ITV called Bad Influence, ran for 4 series. And then there was Games Master, which ran for 8 series, and there was various other ones here and there. There was one called Bits, which was an all-female presenting cast, and it was the sort of video game equivalent to another series called Vids, which was a Welsh guy and a Scottish guy reviewing fucking movies. Oh man, that was my thing back in the day. On a Friday night after school, 4 later, and you had odd manner of dodgy programs like Eurotrash, The Girly Show, and then fucking Vids. Vids was brilliant though, hilarious. I think you can get it on YouTube, bits and pieces of it anyway. Or maybe actually see if I could download all of them, because man, they were great, fucking sensational. Aye, so your Games Masters would be on like a Thursday night, Bad Influence would be on a Wednesday afternoon, around about 4 o'clock. I'd get home, get in, watch these programs, and they would talk about Mega Drive games and new SNES games, and then I think it was Series 2. I'll look at the Sony PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, and they referred to them as Super Consoles. I wish they'd bring that term back. Right, we're going to release our next brand of Xbox. What would we call it? Let's call it the Super Xbox. in the Super PlayStation. Super PlayStation 1. Let's go back to the beginning and make it a more nostalgic feel, and we'll make them all grey again. Well, the PlayStation was grey. The SNES was grey as well. Sega Mega Drive was black. Master System black. SNES, NES, grey. PlayStation, grey. It's weird how the colour schemes, what makes them pick one colour over the other, I don't get it, I don't know. And I remember seeing videos of Alien vs Predator for the Atari Jaguar and Doom, and it was like, all my Christmases come at once. And you hear the words you always long to hear was, this is worth getting the machine just for this one game. I never actually ended up getting the Jaguar. I think the PlayStation came along and just bluttered that right out the water for me, so that was good. Because I was dying for Doom. I just wanted to play Doom. I even had the 32X versions of it, and I played the shit out of that. Used to think that was the best version of Doom, and then you play the PS1 version and you realise it was a heap of shit. I recently booted up the original Doom when, the Doom game that was released on the PS1. That's fucking crap. I don't know how I ever... Again, it's that, you know, this is the best you've got at the time, but see, when you look back, a lot of these games do not hold. They don't hold up, they don't hold water. Leave them in the past, for God's sake, leave them in the past. I tend to find the ones that age the best are the 2D ones, the 16 and 8-bit era machines of games of machines. They're the ones that I actually play more, and you see them all the time, people making indie games now. These are just 2D games, these would be the big releases back in the day, back in the 90s. You know, they're indie games. It's weird how all that comes back in. And was I dying for a PlayStation 1? Yes, I was. And I got one. I got a 32X for my Christmas the year PlayStation was released. Then it broke about a month later, so we took it back, still under warranty. And the guy, I knew a couple of people in the shop at the time, said, why don't you fucking just trade in your Mega Drive? And all the games, what games you go through, listed them all down, was like, right, you'll get a PS1 and Doom for that. Well, I couldn't run home fast enough, pack it up, bring it back down. Day I got a PS1, what a day. Was that 1995 it was released? I must have been 13, 14. Oh, what a day. The magic in my young eyes, oh my god. And that was probably around the time where video games were starting to become big business. Just starting. Back in the Mega Drive games, I don't think they were big business. I was a child, so I didn't care. Just know that I liked it. There you go. But it's not the big business that it is today. It's not the multi-billion-dollar fucking industry that it is today. No. And I think in it becoming big business, it's lost magic. But that's not entirely why it's lost magic for me. It's because I'm old, and you get to see a few things. You know, kind of feel like I've seen it all at this point with video games. VR didn't really pan out the way everyone was expecting it to. The games they're basic, they're shite actually, most of them don't work properly unless you've got a big space to use this peripheral in, which cost a fucking fortune. You're just not going to have a good experience, but it's just crap. I mean, the PlayStation VR, probably the most cost effective, and it's light years away from where I would like it to be. When I bought it, it was reduced right enough, but when it first came out, it was 330 quid. It was the same price as a PlayStation 4. I'm like, how? For a headset that's wired, and you trip over the wire, and then you've got these really shite motion controllers, and they're the same motion controllers that they used for the PlayStation 3. So obviously Sony weren't putting that much into it. They were like, oh, made this headset, but the controllers are fucking crap. What you wanted was the ones where you get with the Vive and the other one that Facebook made, I can't remember. Shite anyway. But the controllers are comfy and they fit when you handle it. Joysticks. These things were just clunky wands of teeth. And half the time you're better off just playing the game with a fucking normal PS4 controller. If it allowed you to do it. Some games didn't allow you to do it. But there was VR in the 90s and it was fucking worse. It was like Tron, the original Tron movie had all the textures removed. That was your VR. And there was no such thing as a VR home unit. This was arcade only, and very, 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 very select arcades. But this is what video games still mean the world to me now. They're a great means of escape. Great means of escape, a depressing, bleak existence when you get your coronaviruses and you get your wars everywhere. I always think everyone should have a hobby. This is my hobby and I'm just telling you what it means to me. And it means the world to me, it really does. And this is extended into making these YouTube videos. I'm really enjoying making them, more so at the moment, because I need to keep my mind occupied for reasons which I might go into in a further video. If not, think of it as keeping the idle hands from becoming idle. You know, you're going to maybe get into mischief if you don't have something else to do, or you just get really bored and depressed. So that's what it is. Still love my video games. I have lost a lot of the magic. Back in the day, enamoured with video games to the nth degree. It was ridiculous, but God, I miss it, and I love looking back on it. And I also love looking back on the quality of it, because it was very questionable, especially in that early 3D phase. You had PS1, Sega Saturn, N64, even PC. The 3D phase back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, early 2000s, up to about the 2010s, were ropey, because everybody was finding their feet with new technology. So 3D now, I mean, couldn't you imagine games without it? Just like I can't imagine like your 2.5D games. I mean, that's 2D, only it's just been brought up to date, rather than making these games 3D like Sonic. This is what they should have done from the beginning, but things just don't always play out that way. I remember back in the day when Sega and that would they was like, oh, we're not putting 2D games out in the system, we're putting 3D games out in the system. And the ironic thing is that now everyone just doesn't really give a fuck as long as the game's good. But 2D games now are, I think they're probably more popular than they've been since their heyday in the 90s. But you'd get like, I'd buy this new PlayStation and then fucking Street Fighter 2 would come out and you're like, did I spend all this money for this? This was in the Mega Drive. I still think like that a wee bit today. You're like, really? That was basically the remaster back in the day, but nobody really saw it as remastered, didn't you? Call it remastered, this is just another version of a game. It was improved, but you get the point. Well, I want to thank you all for listening to more of my ramblings, more of my thoughts. Maybe I'll put more videos like this out, just talking pure pish. Or maybe I won't. Who knows what will happen in the future. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I really appreciate it. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. God knows I need the help with that pile of fucking nonsense. Nonsense-ry! One of my favourite made up ones. Thanks again for watching. Like if you liked, dislike if you didn't, leave a comment below. I'll see you all later.